Hello again. My name is Panu and I'm designing and building this 50-foot liveaboard sailboat. In addition to that, I've been doing some videos converting my current sailboat into electric one. In this video, I'm going to install the motor into this boat and we'll see how it works. It's a couple of weeks later and I've been working my butt off doing all this electrical stuff here. Most of it is now complete and it's still total mess in here, but don't let it disturb. Next thing is to connect this motor into that sail drive, and before that we must put some gear oil there. This is now painted with epoxy paint. It has been a couple of weeks now. I think it's totally cured, although the weather has been just unbelievable. It's still like 10 degrees Celsius out there, even it's 19th of May. So, but yeah, I installed the new zinc and it should be ready to go. Now we just have to put the gear oil in here. And we have these two screws here. The bottom one is to get the oil out and the top one is to fill it up. I have to do it while this is off the boat because the hull is coming right about here, so I really can't access this screw when this on its place. Okay, now we should put some oil into this hole to fill this bottom part somewhere around here, I think. I'm using this mineral oil ATW90 and I used this before in the outboard gearbox, so I think it should be good into this purpose. Obviously I'm not gonna pour it in like this, but we use some kind of tool for that. I went to pharmacy and bought one of these big, I don't know what you call this in English, but yeah. And I'm gonna use this plastic cup to pour the oil in, make it a little easier to use that thing. I think we should put at least a couple 100 milliliters. Some paper towels to clean up the mess when it happens. Okay, first power. Let's see how this goes. The difficult part is that, of course, when you put something in, the air must come out, so it tends to make some backslash. So I have to be quite careful and do this slowly. You can see the air bubbles coming out. So I'll tilt this a little so the oil will go down there. Oops. Let's keep it this way for a while. Oops. Okay, was that enough? Well, let's take a look a little closer. Have I mentioned that I hate oils and stuff like this? So let's put the headlamp on, take a look. Yep, I think it's full now. I don't know if this has to be full, but well, it is. So we are done here. Now we can put the nut back on there, or bolt. Yeah. Here we go. Okay, now I think we have enough oil in here. And so here we have the gear rod. When I pull this up, it goes to gear forward. When I push it down, it goes to reverse. And we'll see if we need to use this, but now I pull it up so it's in forward position. Yeah, I think it feels much easier to turn now when there's oil. Now I think we can connect the motor into this. This is the lower half of the coupling and the upper half is already in here. So like that. And we have this hole in here for purpose to be able to tighten this small screw here to put this properly in place. Now it's temporarily fixed, but I loosen this up now so I can move this up and down a little. Then we put this motor onto that and then we should have the right position for this shaft and the coupling. And then I'll tighten it up through this hole. We have a slight design issue here. We should have a little bigger hole in here to access these a little better, but now this end is properly secured and it's flush on the axle side. So now we'll put this on this place and we can still move it from the motor shaft. Now it went down there. Yep. So now I'll tighten up this screw like so. Now when I take this off, it should be on the right spot. So let's see the placement from here. Okay, it's a bit high. There's like maybe 10 millimeter gap there, but I think that's okay. We can still tighten the boat screws here. It should hold up. And the key, you can see it is properly down there, so shouldn't go anywhere. So we have some play here on this side. More important is that this other end sits correctly down there. There is not that much play on this side. I think we're good to go. Now I'll put the screws in, but before I tighten it all the way, I will turn the motor on and let it spin for a while so that it finds its proper place, so there's no vibration or the shaft is straight, and so we have a little play here on any direction. So okay, now the screws are just hand tightened and it already feels quite sturdy, but it can still move just a bit. So let's now push it on its place just to make a little test spin and see how it feels. Sinne meni. Voi. Okay, it's in, and now we can connect the motor. The motor is in. Now we need to add the wiring harness, which is this one. So these are all the control wires. It will connect in here, like that. And now we need to connect some of these. Obvious one is this sensor cables for the motor. So these wires are for collecting data from the motor, so there's temperature and the position of the motor. So it's important to have in the BLDC motor. And now we have to put a few of these. So the first one is the electric lock. It just supplies the 48 volts into one of these wires, and there's this key switch. Yep, like so. Then we need a throttle. So it's this one. It has this potentiometer. And the last one we need here is the switch for reverse. Now everything should be connected. So I haven't yet mounted these switches or the throttle. Okay, this one is the reverse switch and this is the power on switch. And when I push this, you should hear sound when the contactor turns on. Yep. And now we'll check the throttle is down. We'll turn the key like that, and we should have light. Yep, we have a light blinking down there. So we have power, and now it's the Moment of truth. And nothing happens. Okay, this was an anticlimax. Okay, I have to check orientation of these wires. So we have a positive supply, 5 volts here. We have a ground and we have this green, which should be from 0 to 5 volts. Maybe I'll use the voltmeter to check the voltage. Okay, if I'm correct, there should be 5 volts. Yeah, there is definitely 5 volts in here. I'm not sure what I did, but it suddenly turned on. Okay. It did turn on, but there's something going on with this. I'm not sure with what. I turned it down and it stopped as it should be, but now it won't restart. This black one should be the... Okay, now it works. Okay, it works, but there's some issue with this control thing. So if I turn it quickly, it won't turn on, but when I turn it very slowly, then it will start eventually. I think there's some programming thing with this controller, so I have to check with the computer. Let's check the reverse gear. Okay, it works. It went. Now when I push the button, now it's in the reverse, and now it's in forward again. I recheck that this is really so, that I will disconnect this one. Now it's definitely forward. Yeah. So this sound is the forward sound. Now I'll reconnect this one. No, this is reverse actually, yes. So now it's in reverse. Now it's forward. Yeah. We'll see about that when we install the propeller, which way it really turns. Okay, it works. Woohoo! So I think this is now on its proper place, and now I can tighten these bolts. It's the next day and I'm ready to put this in for good. So here's the sealing ring installed. I cleaned it up. It was a little greasy and gross. And now we should be able to put this whole thing into that hole. And what I heard from my friend who has the same motor, you need to use some kind of soap or something to slide this in. So I have this dishwashing soap and I will put some all over this so it lubricates it slightly. Oh, first things first, I haven't attached these yet properly, so let's do that first. Yeah, these were all loose. Now we're good to go. So now I will put some soap into this rubber ring. maybe also down there. Make sure there's enough lubricant. Yeah, let's give it a go. Oh, it should slide in down there. It should. Okay, now it's secured and it doesn't move anywhere. The rubber sealing ring looks fine. Let's go to see from the outside how it looks. Okay, here we have it. Doesn't move anywhere. And if we look up here, on the front it feels good. On the side there's gap. The rear side you can't see it, but I can definitely feel it. It's not properly down on this rear side, so you have to get back up there and push it down from the rear. By the way, I've got a prop. Let's try to push it down. Okay, there it goes. Yeah. Yeah, now it went properly. Okay. I think we're done here. Let's try to fire it up again. So last night I did hook this up and tested it and it worked, and there was some issues though that I will cover maybe a later video, but briefly now. So first I switch on the contactor like that. Now the contactor is on. Then I will turn the key like so, and now there should be a red light blinking. Yeah, so it's on. Then we'll take the throttle potentiometer and turn it slowly, and it should start. Okay. Now it's on and running. We also have this switch to change the rotation, so like a reverse button. You can probably hear the difference quite well. So last night I figured out that the motor is turning in the wrong direction. So now this reverse switch is actually on and the motor is going reverse. But from the sail drive point of view, now it's rotating on the right direction. So when I hook the propeller, now it goes forward. And I did a bit of research last night, so it's not actually a problem. The documentation of this motor is not that great. You can't really find any semantics or anything like that. But the Golden motor has a quite nice forum where there are similar questions that I had. So I searched there and figured out that you can actually change permanently the rotation direction of these kind of motors. So later on I only have to switch two of these cables other way around and also change one of these sensor cables at the same way. And after that the motor should rotate on the opposite direction by default. But yeah, the sound, if I turn it on, you can probably hear it's quite nice. Quite nice sound. But if I switch it backwards, you can hear this metallic sound, and I think that is because of the gears I have talked earlier. So it definitely works, but it keeps this kind of sound, so I'm not really sure if this is a good way to go, but I still have the gear shifter down there, so we can use that as well. But yeah, the motor is definitely working. And only problem now is the behavior of this throttle potentiometer. So it works when I turn it slowly, like this. But if I turn it quickly, like that, it doesn't do anything because of some kind of protection feature. And I need to program this thing a little bit. So there's plenty of options how it behaves when turning the knob, and there's some kind of thresholds and things like that. So that's why I have this USB programming cable that hooks up into this, and we can change the settings with special software. So only problem is that I don't have PC laptop, so yeah, I have to borrow one from someone. So that's it for this video. In next, and I think last part, we're going to put this thing on water and test it in the real environment. It's now mid-August and I've been using this boat now for 2.5 months. Now I have quite a good feeling what's working and what's not, and we'll take a look at those things in the next part. Please subscribe my channel and push that bell as well. Soon there will be a video of designing my 50-foot sailboat, so looking forward to that and really take this channel into a new chapter. Bye!